Welcome back, guys, to Audio Dungeon. I'm Tony Hanson, joined by Vin B and Vinny Pro. And right now, we're looking at TABLETOPIA.com, and we're looking at the game Vampire: The Masquerade Vendetta. So, if you're not familiar with TABLETOPIA.com, they have thousands of games you can play just like this, strategy games, a lot of your favorites, and you can play anywhere, anytime in the world with anyone. Doesn't matter where they are. So the interface is pretty intuitive. The first thing you'll notice is the bottom right-hand corner has a built-in video display and allows you to see your friends and your adversaries during the game. It's in the bottom right-hand corner, and it's also coupled with obviously audio interface and also text chat bar. So they're trying to make it as real as possible, as just like you're sitting in front of somebody else. And I got to say, it gets pretty close, and it's pretty easy to learn, pretty easy to use, pretty easy to play. So a lot of things going on here. The first thing I'm going to show you is the camera feature, which is pretty cool. If you want to set up certain perspectives, note that it's only your perspective. You're not hogging the camera and the perspective of everyone else. You're not all looking at the same one. Everyone in the room has their own 3D perspective camera view that they can make, and they can, like you, can shuffle back and forth between the ones that they want. For example, let's say I like this view and I want to look over here. I could save this view by pressing Shift and a number. I'll pick 7 just for now. You'll see camera saved at number 7. And let's say during the game, I'm looking at my hand and I go, oh yeah, I want to go back to the other spot I saved on 7. Instead of pressing Shift 7, I just press 7 this time, and it'll bring me right back. So it's great because you can look at objective spots of the board. Perhaps you're looking at something that if someone saw you looking at it, they might be aware that it's something that you're going for in the game, and perhaps a mission objective or something. It's always great to have your own perspective instead of, in real life where you would lean down and read a rule and you say, oh, I want to take that.
So reach across the board and say, hey, Tony, what's that card say over there?
Let's get down to the game, and let's go to Vin B for that. Vin, take us through the interface of how it works.
Sure. So this is, Vampire: The Masquerade Vendetta. It's a great game set in the World of Darkness universe here, and thematically it's great. Also plays extremely well on Tabletopia. Again, I will point this out for a lot of games. This is a game you can see there's a lot of tokens and a lot of setup. It's great. It's easy. We come into it, everything's ready to go. It's also very easy to use and within the terms of the games and the pieces and the parts that you have to move around. So you have your cards out, you have your allies and your clan cards out, you have your location markers. So for instance, you can grab your location tile here that you want to click and move for each one and place it next to the towers, next to the locations where you're going to be going to interact on your turns. You also have your influence markers over here, your 10-point chips and your 1-point chips, as well as your blood markers over here. And being able to click and drag and move them as you need to. And you have your hands. So Tony, one of the important things we've talked about this with a lot of games is hand management with cards, right? So you can click and drag and take a card into your hand versus what's out. So if you take one of the cards on the left there and draw them in, you can see by moving it to the bottom of the screen, that little highlight comes up on the bottom, that little blue shade, because Tony's the blue player. And when that's up there we go. Now that goes into your hand. So now nobody can see that card. We know that's important because there's points in this game where you're going to need to be able to take certain cards, put them into your hand so that other players can't see them, and then drag them out. So one of the things that's very interesting is if you want to zoom out a little bit, Tony, and you see my hand over here, the red hand in the game, you just see a normal hand at this point. But if I take this card out of my hand and now I'm clicking and holding, and I'm not letting go. This is important in this game. You'll see that there's a little symbol change. It has the hand with the cards in it. That means I have a card in my hand ready to go. So when everybody has to simultaneously reveal what they're doing with their choices, you can click and hold. When everybody's ready, you just release, and it places the card out as it is in your hand.
As you see on my hand, it's facing upwards, and as long as I'm holding it here, on Vin's screen, he's not going to see that card. He just sees, like he showed us, the hand with cards in it. Once I release, it falls to the ground, and then it's out there. So you're going to feel kind of vulnerable. You feel like you're showing it out to everybody else, but you're not. You're still holding it in your hand. Yeah, so it's pretty intuitive. And here's a draw feature right now. If you want to draw more cards, more than one, you could do it this way too. Right-clicking on it, going to draw, pressing it, and then it'll bring it right to your hand, and that saves a lot of time too. And again, you can click on it to zoom and see the details.
And the same thing with the tokens as well. If you right-click on the tokens, you can select multiple tokens at once, so you can drag them all at once.
And there's one thing I almost forgot about that's actually important in this game. There's the ability to draw from the bottom of the deck. And the points where you want to put the cards on the bottom of the deck. I believe it's if you hold shift when you're putting the card over the deck, it'll put everything on the bottom or interact with the bottom of the deck.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, guys. So that was Vampire Masquerade Vendetta, and it's on tabletopia.com. Go to Tabletopia for many, many more games that you can play with your friends online. Check it out at tabletopia.com. For Audio Dungeon, I'm Tony Hansen, joined by Vinny B and Vinny Pro, and we'll see you next time.